Some relationships cause us to shrink without us even realizing it. It starts with a few joking remarks that put you down, then escalates to demands for priority in everything, followed by inexplicable outbursts of anger when you offer gentle feedback. You begin to doubt your own memory. Am I too sensitive? Did I remember it wrong? That's when the curtain of a personality trait called narcissism closes around you. And when someone's ego inflates for long enough, overshadowing their capacity for empathy, kindness, and respect for others' boundaries, you're standing before the portrait of narcissistic personality disorder or harmful narcissistic tendencies. This is not a medical diagnostic tool. Only mental health professionals can provide a diagnosis. The goal of this content is to help you recognize behavioral patterns and protect yourself.
What narcissism is and isn't. Narcissism isn't a fleeting moment of confidence, a love for selfies, or a desire for the spotlight. Healthy confidence is grounded in real ability, open to feedback, capable of apologizing, and respects boundaries. Pathological narcissism is different, an inflated yet fragile ego that craves constant admiration, feels entitled, "I deserve more," lacks empathy, and is willing to exploit others to fuel an illusion of grandeur. When these traits persist, recur across contexts, and harm social, work, or personal functioning, they point to narcissistic personality disorder. The thread running through these signs is a fear of being insignificant. Behind the arrogance often lies a fragile core of self-esteem. They must belittle others to feel superior, twist reality to avoid being wrong, and demand special treatment to reinforce their sense of worth.
What they protect isn't necessarily the truth, but their self-image. 9 classic axes of identification explained in everyday terms. In clinical settings, NPD revolves around classic criteria: grandiosity, obsession with power, beauty, success, belief in being special, need for admiration, entitlement, exploitation, lack of empathy, envy, arrogance. Instead of a dry list, let's translate these into relatable scenarios. Grandiosity: I'm always right. They boast about achievements, exaggerate contributions, and react angrily to criticism. In a meeting, they dominate, claim credit, and if things fail, they blame the team. When you point out a mistake with evidence, they retort, "You don't fully understand the issue." Obsession with status and glory. A polished appearance, a powerful position, or connections with elite people. They talk endlessly about status, cozy up to important figures, and dismiss those they deem ordinary. If someone else is praised, they shift focus. But I know someone who did twice as much. Belief in being special. People like me deserve exceptional partners. Rules are for others, not me. They cut lines, demand exceptions, or expect special service because they believe they're above others. Need for constant admiration. Without praise, they're uneasy. They feed on compliments like oxygen. Conversations often veer to their achievements. Praising someone else too much might make them cold or sarcastic to redirect attention to themselves. Sense of entitlement. They arrive late but expect others to wait. Skip procedures but demand priority. When denied special treatment, they rage, viewing it as an insult. Exploiting others. Others are tools. Colleagues to polish their image, partners to nurture their ego, children to bring glory. They make grand promises to extract your effort, then vanish when accountability arises. Lack of empathy. You're sick, they complain it's inconvenient. You're struggling, they lecture you. They don't step into your shoes unless it serves their image. Envy, and believing others envy them. When you shine, they downplay it. It's not that impressive. If a colleague is praised, they hint at favoritism. When outdone, they reframe the story to paint themselves as victims. Arrogance and condescension. From their gaze to their tone and word choice, they belittle to elevate themselves. That's not worth discussing. Condescension is their armor against feeling inferior. These signs don't need to appear all at once. But when they combine, recur in family, love, or work settings, and pull you into an exhausting spiral, it's a red flag. Overt and covert. Not all narcissists are loud. Overt, grandiose narcissists crave the spotlight, steal credit, and hate criticism. Covert, vulnerable, appear humble, easily hurt, and dwell on past wounds, yet still center themselves, demanding special treatment passively through sulking, silent treatment, or guilt-tripping. Their common thread? Lack of empathy and a need for priority. There's also malignant narcissism, a blend of cruelty, control, hostility, and sometimes antisocial tendencies. With this group, safety must come before any reasoning. Manipulation tactics. How the signs manifest. To protect their self-image, narcissists deploy a set of dark skills. Love bombing. Early on, they shower you with affection, gifts, compliments, grand promises, to make you think this is the one. Future faking. They promise big things without real plans. Promises are bait to keep you invested. Gaslighting. They distort reality, making you doubt your memory or judgment. You're remembering it wrong. You're too sensitive. I never said that. Triangulation. They bring in a third party to spark jealousy, create pressure, or divide your allies. DARVO. Deny, attack, reverse victim and offender. When you address their insult, they accuse you of being the abuser. Hoovering. When you try to leave, they suck you back with shallow apologies, promises to change, or threats. The cycle restarts. Each tactic targets your memory, self-esteem, and support network. When you doubt yourself and feel isolated, you become an easily controlled narcissistic supply. The cycle: idealization, devaluation, discard. Relationships with narcissists rarely stay steady. Idealization. You're put on a pedestal, special, unique, destined. Devaluation. Once you're hooked, praise turns to criticism, comparison, control. Discard. When you no longer provide enough admiration or privilege, they abandon you or you break free. Hoovering, in many cases. They return with apologies or promises to restart the cycle. Key to spotting it: the repeating pattern. Don't let promises obscure their repeated boundary violations. Family, when home is no longer safe. Narcissistic parents see children as extensions of themselves, demanding perfection to bring pride, harshly criticizing when kids don't enhance their reputation. Privacy is disregarded. Unconditional love is replaced with conditions. The result: children grow up with fragile self-esteem, prone to taking blame, and struggle to set boundaries as adults. Signs at home. Family dinners turn into trials of criticism. Your decisions are scrutinized or made for you. When you push back, you're labeled ungrateful or disrespectful. Clear perspective. You can't fix someone who doesn't want to change. What you can do is adjust the interaction, set visit times, stick to safe topics, leave the table during insults, and find allies in the family. You don't need to be loud to protect yourself. Workplace. Spotlight, power, and credit stealing. At work, narcissism shows through prioritizing image over results, controlling information, and dominating meetings. They take credit for successes and push you into the line of fire for failures. Constructive feedback is taken as a personal attack, triggering narcissistic rage. Signs at work. Documents are edited last minute to make them the deliverer. Meetings are hijacked. That was my idea. They foster cliques, spread rumors, and sow distrust among teams. Your armor. Document everything. Email summaries, checklists, clear deadlines. Escalate issues through official channels, managers, HR, with neutral language and evidence. Avoid verbal battles. Spoken deals lose to written proof. Romantic relationships. When love is clouded by sugar and smoke. In romance, narcissism is an emotional sleight of hand. It starts with love bombing. They read you quickly, offering exactly what you crave. Once you trust them, the mask drops, controlling your friends, time, clothing, job, gaslighting when you object. You live in confusion, gradually losing your voice. Signs. When you hit a milestone, promotion, meeting family, they sabotage or steal the spotlight. Apologies come with blame. I'm sorry you made me angry. When you say it's over, they cry, promise, or threaten. If you soften, the cycle repeats. Truth to hold. No apology outweighs a repeated pattern of boundary violation. Your safety matters more than a fairy tale overnight change.
5 everyday experiments to reflect, not diagnose. Apology experiment. Do they apologize without justifications or blame? Or is it, I'm sorry, but? Boundary experiment. When you say no, do they respect it or push and trample? Spotlight experiment. When others shine, do they celebrate or diminish? Memory experiment. During disagreements, is reality twisted until you doubt yourself? Safety experiment. Do you feel safe or constantly tense, drained, afraid of mistakes? If most answers lean toward alarm and repeat, it's a serious sign to reset boundaries or walk away. Why do we get stuck? It's not because you're weak. The core of narcissism is the trauma bond, a cycle of sweetness and punishment that creates an emotional chemical addiction in the brain, dopamine cortisol. Your mind is trained to think, just try a bit more and it'll be like the beginning.
But the beginning was bait. The lasting truth is the pattern. Another factor is belief. We think kindness can change someone. We believe everyone wants to improve. Compassion is beautiful, but it's not an excuse to erode your boundaries. Being kind to others doesn't mean stopping kindness to yourself. Boundaries, the highest form of self-respect. Boundaries aren't walls blocking love. They're doors that let healthy love in and keep toxicity out. A good boundary has 3 parts. The line. No insults, no checking my phone, no invading privacy. The consequence. If it happens again, I'll end the conversation, leave the room, switch to text, stop contact for 72 hours. Enforcement. When violated, follow through. No arguments, no explanations. Actions are the language narcissists must hear. They'll test boundaries with anger, tears, or guilt. Remember, one concession devalues the boundary forever. Boundaries only work when consistent. Gray rock, when silence speaks. For unavoidable interactions, colleagues, relatives, the gray rock method helps. Become boring to avoid feeding their emotional fuel. Use short, neutral responses. Avoid moral debates. I hear you. Let's stick to the main topic. Combine with time limits and clear endpoints. Note, this isn't a long-term solution for severe abuse. Safety means exiting dangerous zones. Distinguishing from other conditions. Avoid mislabeling. Mania, bipolar, may show grandiose confidence or impulsivity, but it's tied to mood episodes. Between episodes, they may show empathy and regret. Autism, ASD. Difficulty reading social cues doesn't mean lacking moral empathy. Many with ASD are honest, respect boundaries, and don't exploit. ADHD, impulsivity or interrupting, but not tied to belittling others or seeking entitlement. Mislabeling can damage relationships and derail treatment. When in doubt, describe behaviors. They raise their voice 3 times in the meeting, rather than labeling personality. When to seek help. You're constantly drained, anxious, fearful, doubting yourself. Boundaries are repeatedly violated, promises of change go unfulfilled. There's violence, physical/threats/financial harm. Prioritize safety. Plan an exit, lean on trusted friends or family, secure finances, find a safe space, seek legal advice if needed. Therapy helps rebuild self-esteem, learn boundaries, and detox from manipulation. The road back, from surviving to living. Recovery isn't loud. It starts with small, consistent steps. Log events with timestamps to anchor reality. Say one no and enforce its consequence. Call a trusted friend. Take a long walk to breathe and hear your inner voice. Return to nurturing habits, sleep, exercise, creativity, reading. You may feel empty after cutting contact. That's withdrawal. Give yourself time. Don't return due to temporary loneliness. Peace is less dramatic than toxic love, but it's lasting, and it's worth it. Final words for those seeking signs. If you're searching for signs of narcissism, your heart may have answered before your mind. The signs aren't just in lists, they're in how you feel. Do you grow or shrink around them? Are you respected, or do you have to beg for peace? Are you living or just surviving? These descriptions aren't meant to make you pessimistic. They give you language to name what was once vague. With language, you can set boundaries. With boundaries, you can choose. And when you choose, you'll find the path out, not from a specific person, but from a pattern that makes you smaller. You don't need permission to leave what hurts you. You don't need to prove anything to deserve kind love. Self-respect doesn't oppose compassion. It's the condition for compassion to not be exploited. The day you stop compromising with what diminishes you is the day you begin to return to yourself.